You know, when you see a perfect home run, a lightning fast serve, or a record breaking sprint, have you ever stopped to wonder what they all have in common? Well, it's not just about raw talent or strength. It's physics. It's the simple, elegant mechanics of the lever, which is kind of the hidden engine powering almost every single move we make. I mean, just look at this baseball pitcher. That arm, just a combination of bone and muscle, is about to unleash an unbelievable amount of force and speed. It is a total marvel of biological engineering. But how does it actually do that? That is the big question, right? And the answer, believe it or not, is actually pretty simple. Our bodies are just these incredibly complex systems of levers. Yeah, that's right. The same simple machine you learned about back in science class is basically the blueprint for all athletic greatness. Okay, so let's get our terms straight. In our bodies, a lever is just a rigid rod, which for us is a bone, that rotates around a fixed point called a fulcrum. And that fulcrum? That's just your joint. So every single time you move, you're firing up a whole system of these levers. But here's where it gets really interesting. Not all levers are created equal. They all work based on this fundamental trade-off, this constant dance between power and speed. And if you can understand this, you really unlock the science of movement. It all comes down to something called mechanical advantage. So every lever, doesn't matter if it's in your arm or it's a crowbar, has three basic parts. First, you've got the fulcrum. That's the pivot point. Think of your elbow or your shoulder joint. Second, you have the effort. That's the force your muscles apply when they contract. And finally, you've got the load. That's whatever it is you're trying to move. A dumbbell, a baseball, or hey, even just the weight of your own head. Now, the relationship between these three parts is what gives a lever its mechanical advantage, or MA for short. You can think of MA as like the lever's efficiency score. It tells us how much the lever multiplies the force we put into it. So a high MA means you get a whole lot of force out for just a little bit of effort. A low MA, well, that's the opposite. So how do we figure out a lever's mechanical advantage? Well, it's all about distance, specifically the distance from the fulcrum. You've got the effort arm, which is the distance from the fulcrum to where your muscle is applying force. And then you've got the load arm, the distance from the fulcrum all the way out to the load. The ratio between these two, that's everything. And the formula itself is actually super simple. Mechanical advantage equals the length of the effort arm divided by the length of the load arm. So if your effort arm is longer, you get a mechanical advantage bigger than 1. If the load arm is longer, it's going to be less than 1. And this simple math reveals that crucial trade-off I was talking about. A high mechanical advantage, that gives you a force advantage. It's awesome for moving heavy stuff with less muscle strain, but the movement itself is slow. On the flip side, a low mechanical advantage requires way more effort, but the payoff is huge. You get incredible speed and a much greater range of motion. And this trade-off isn't just a concept. It's literally built into the design of our bodies through three totally distinct classes of levers. So let's meet them. First up, we have the classic first-class lever, and the easiest way to picture this one is just a seesaw on a playground. So in a first-class lever, the fulcrum is sitting right there in the middle, sandwiched between the effort and the load. A great example in your body is actually your neck. The joint is the fulcrum, your neck muscles in the back provide the effort to pull your head up, and the weight of your head out in front is the load. But fun fact, these are actually pretty rare in the human body. Next up, we've got the second-class lever, and this one is built for pure, raw force. The best analogy here is a wheelbarrow. In this setup, the load is in the middle, between the fulcrum and the effort. Now, because the effort arm is always longer than the load arm, this type of lever always gives you a mechanical advantage greater than 1. It's amazing for generating force. But just like the first-class lever, it's also very rare in our bodies. The main example is doing a calf raise, where the ball of your foot is the fulcrum and your calf muscle provides the effort. And that brings us to the real star of the show, the third-class lever. This is the speed multiplier, and it is by far the most common type of lever you'll find in the human body. Okay, so here, the effort is applied between the fulcrum and the load. A bicep curl is the perfect example. Your elbow is the fulcrum, your bicep muscle attaches just below it to provide the effort, and the weight in your hand is the load. Now, this setup always has a mechanical advantage of less than 1. It's technically inefficient. You have to put in a ton of muscle force. But here is the brilliant part. That inefficiency is actually its greatest strength. The trade-off is unbelievable speed and range of motion at the end of the lever. This is the secret sauce for why we can throw and kick and swing so incredibly fast. So, the really crucial thing to get here is that our bodies are optimized for speed, not for brute force. Now let's see how this all plays out on game day. Let's go back to our baseball throw. Your arm is a classic third-class lever system in action. The shoulder joint, that's the fulcrum. The effort comes from those powerful pectoral and shoulder muscles, which attach to the bone really close to that joint. And the load, that's the baseball in your hand, way out at the end of the lever. So a small, powerful muscle contraction right near the shoulder creates a massive, high-speed movement at the hand, which sends that ball flying. But it's not just about the levers that are inside our bodies. The smartest athletes have mastered the art of using external levers to push their performance even further into the stratosphere. A baseball bat is a perfect example, right? It's just an extension of the arm's lever system. By making that lever longer, you dramatically increase the speed at the very end of the bat, right where it's going to make contact with the ball. This external lever acts as a speed multiplier on top of the speed already generated by the body, and that's what allows for such a powerful hit. Or you want to see an even more extreme example? Take the pole vault. The pole is just this massive external lever that lets an athlete convert their horizontal running speed into incredible vertical height. Changing the length or the stiffness of that lever completely changes the game. It's just a perfect demonstration of how mastering an external lever is totally fundamental to athletic achievement. All right, so let's lock in the key takeaways from all this. Number 1, your bones are levers and your joints are fulcrums. Easy. Number 2, levers always trade force for speed or speed for force. There is no free lunch in physics. 3, our bodies are overwhelmingly built with third-class levers, which are beautifully designed for speed and range of motion. And finally, we use tools like bats and rackets as external levers to enhance our natural abilities. It really makes you think, doesn't it? The physics of a simple lever underpins some of the most breathtaking moments in all of sports. So I'll leave you with this question. If you could design any piece of sports equipment from scratch, knowing what you now know about levers, what would you create to push human performance to its absolute ultimate limit?